It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome. It's the Jill on Money Show. It's President's Day weekend, so many of you might have a little extra long weekend ahead of you. I know I do, and I hope you enjoy it. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life, and the way that we do that is we ask you to do a little work. Go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and just write your question. It can be about any topic. It could be that you need a little hand-holding. It could be that things are really good and you want confirmation. It could be that things are really bad and you need some assistance to get out of that bad situation. Doesn't really matter, but it does matter that you reach out to us because we can help you. We is me and Mark Talercio, the best executive producer in the world. We are both certified financial planners, which means we got enough background to kind of help you navigate the thorny steps ahead. So we'll help you. Today, we are starting the program with Steve, who's on the line from Florida. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Hi, Jill. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course. What's on your mind? How can we help you out?
I have a situation going on with my aunt. Her husband passed away last month, unfortunately, and I've been helping her with her financial paperwork, etc. She was not really, my uncle really took care of everything financially, so she was not really plugged into what was going on the financial side. So it is a little bit of a mess, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what to do. So I thought I'd call you and see if you could give me some advice.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about your aunt. How old is she?
She is 82.
And she lives on her own?
Yes, she lives on her own, and she actually lives on this big property with a couple of horses.
Really? You mean that she owns horses? Like she's on a farm?
Yes.
Holy smokes. Who helps her with all of this? Or is she totally fine?
My uncle would help a lot, obviously, with the horses and everything else. But right now she's by herself, which is of concern to me, obviously, at this point.
Yeah.
So it's something we'll talk about.
Do you guys live close by to her?
No, we do not. We are about 7 or 8 hours away.
Oh, my God. Are there other siblings? This is your wife's. Well, who is this? Is this your aunt or your aunt-in-law?
It's a couple of times removed. They don't have any kids, so it's.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
okay, no kids. So you're the ones who are helping out.
Yeah, we are helping out, and she does have some friends and neighbors nearby who come and help her from time to time. So she's got a decent support system around her.
Oh, well, that's good. So this property that she lives on, this farm and the horses, how much do you figure it's worth?
So we have actually had some realtors come through over the past couple of days. We have heard between $575 to $675, depending on how much we put into the house to spruce it up before trying to sell it.
Is there a mortgage on it?
Yes, mortgage is about $200K.
And she's on board with selling it?
I think I finally got her there.
That's hard. Where's she going to go?
That's something we are trying to figure out. The problem is that the mortgage, since we are talking about that, has got an extremely high interest rate. It's at 6.75.
Wow.
Which was a surprise to me when I saw it, because mortgage was taken out in 2006, I believe.
And they never refinanced, and okay.
Yeah, they couldn't get it refinanced. I guess they were retired. I'm not sure what the issue was, but they couldn't get it refinanced. So unfortunately, they are stuck with this very large mortgage, which is part of the problem that we have.
What about her other assets?
So basically, she has about $375K or so between a brokerage account and IRA. Her husband's IRA and her IRAs, all three together, is about $375K.
And just safe money, like bank account money?
Bank account money is pretty low, maybe about 25,000, let's say. And
And,
she is going to get, my uncle had a whole life policy. So that is going to pay out 100,000 hopefully the next week or so.
and what about her income? She has Social Security, or does she receive half of your uncle's?
She has Social Security, and my uncle did not have any Social Security. I still am trying to figure out what the issue was.
Okay. Do you know the Social Security amount?
Hers is like 160 a month, I think that's coming in after they deduct Medicare and stuff.
And what about any other income? For example, is there any old pension or any other income that she derives from other sources?
There is nothing else that I can find. There is, or there was a trust that my uncle had that they were getting income from, and that apparently is not sending her any money now. And we are trying to figure out what the issue with the trust is.
Do you
It's
know what's left in the trust? Is it possible that they drained it?
No, there's about I found a statement from about 3 or 4 months ago. It has about 500K in it, so it's a
Wow.
mess.
Wait a minute. Hold
Yeah.
on. Do you have a copy of that trust document? Do we know what the source is of this?
Yes, we do have a copy of the trust document, but the trust, and then we have an amendment to it, which is a couple of years later. Apparently, the trust was set up by my uncle's father in 1978,
Oh my God.
with him as the beneficiary, and then there's an amendment in 1980 saying that some of the proceeds need to go to his wife when he passes away.
Okay.
But the trust has stopped paying out. So we are actually going to talk to a lawyer tomorrow,
Good.
estate lawyer. I don't know if you would have any other advice to figure
No,
out.
that was going to be like my first bit of advice was we need to figure out from the lawyer. They're going to go. So a lawyer is going to take a look at this trust, right? Is going to find out what happens. There is absolutely a clause in every trust which says is if the beneficiary of this trust dies, here's where the corpus or the remaining assets go. So my hope is it goes to your aunt. It is also, of course, possible that that maybe did your uncle have siblings?
Yes, so there he had a sister who has also passed away, but the sister has a son. So I think that's probably where the money is going. But there's also confusion about was there a separate trust set up for the sister? So it is very confusing. So I'm hoping a lawyer can make sense of it for us.
We'll get back to Steve in just a moment. If you are interested in finding more of our fantastic content, just go to our website. It's jillonmoney.com. You'll find the blog, you'll find our podcast, you'll find resources all there. Click the Contact Us button, complete the form, and Mark does everything else. It's so great. While you're on the website, check out my new book. It's called The Great Money Reset, and it is available wherever you buy books. Jill on Money. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here answering your financial questions. And we're going to get back to Steve from Florida in just a second. But I do want to make a note of where we are in the calendar. It's just about 6 weeks from the beginning of the year. And this is usually when many of your financial resolutions kind of fall off the rails. And if you think you need some help getting your financial life together, get in touch with us. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. Okay, right now we're going back to Steve from Florida. Where is the trust held? At a bank or at an investment company?
I believe it is an I think it's called United Trust Company or something like that.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Is I think what it is, what the paperwork says.
Okay, great. I mean, that you have all the paperwork is an important first step. Really important. Okay. Let's for a second put the trust aside. Okay. Let's pretend it doesn't exist, which would suck, but let's pretend anyway. Once your auntie sells the house, let's just say she sells it as is. Okay. And let's say that she is able to net, has to pay a realtor, whatever, 350,000, 300, let's even say 300,000 net. Okay. That means, so 300,000 would be net. How, you said there's a brokerage and 2 IRAs. How much is in the brokerage specifically?
Brokerage has about 210K.
Okay.
And the IRAs, one IRA has 116K and one IRA has got about 47K.
Okay, great. So now we have this 500, let's say we have 510,000 and will be in a brokerage after she sells. Then we've got the IRA accounts, which essentially will become one IRA account because she's the beneficiary,
yes,
right?
correct. Yep.
Okay. So we have about 160 grand in IRAs. She must take her required minimum distributions
Correct.
from this account, right?
Yes, yes.
And how much, do you know how much they had been taking? Do you happen to have their return, their tax return or anything from last year or not?
I am still digging for that, but I was told by the brokerage guy that they had cashed out almost like 85,000 last year. I'm not sure why. I'm not finding where the money is going.
Yeah, right.
So I'm trying to figure that out. The other thing I did want to mention, there is credit card debt too. Which,
how much?
So there's 15,000 on a credit union credit card with about a 10% APR.
Yep.
And then there is another 15,000 on a Bank of America credit card, which is high interest rate, as you can imagine.
And any car loan?
No car loan.
So that 30 grand of debt outstanding, right?
Right.
If she were to sell the place, where will she live? How much will it cost, do you think?
She does not want to buy another place. She's probably going to rent because she wants flexibility, which is probably a good idea.
Sure.
You know, it ranges between, I think we can find something comfortable between 1,600 and 1,800, hopefully.
All right, let's say 2,000.
2,000 a month, let's say.
Let's say 2,000.
My biggest issue is the horses. That's the part that I'm struggling to figure out what to do. But that's the.
Do you mean like you don't think she can bring those to an apartment? I'm just kidding. This is so terrible to say. Would she sell these horses? Does she want to keep them someplace? What do you think?
She would prefer to keep them someplace so she can visit them. They are almost like kids to her, as you can imagine, like any of our pets. So,
right.
But we are trying to figure out how much that would cost, etc. So we are trying to figure all of those things out.
All right. I feel like I can't believe that I'm saying this. I have to leave the horses set aside for a second. So if she's got $2,000 a month in rent, and then we presume that she probably needs, another couple $1,000s a month to live just in general?
Yeah. We actually worked out a monthly budget as is. So as of right now, just looking at all her actual expenses, including feeding horses, etc., we are looking at around 6,200 a month.
No, that's too high.
Right,
oh my God.
but the mortgage is like 3,100.
Okay.
And the credit card debt, we are paying another 1,000. So 4,100 is really going to pay debt, mortgage and credit card.
Okay. But so then it would be fair to say, once I get rid of the mortgage and the credit card debt, do you think she could live total on, say, $3,500 a month?
I think so. Yes, okay. I think so, because I've been trying to cost cut as much as I can. But yes, I think she
Let's
could.
even say $4,000 a month. So first things first, when the whole life policy proceeds pay out, right, that you're going to get that 100 grand, of that 100, pay off the 2 credit card debts, the two 15s, okay?
Yep.
And the rest is going in the bank. So in the bank, there will be, $95,000. And don't do anything with that right this second. Number 2 is we need to understand really how quickly she can pull off the sale of the farm.
Yeah, we are going to. I've laid out a time frame. We want to get it listed by March 1st at the latest, and the realtors are telling us the good part is it's a property in a desirable location. So they are thinking they will get offers within 45 days is what they're
Great. Great. I don't want her to spend any of the money in the bank, that 95 grand that she'll have. I don't want her to spend any of it on the house. Sell it as is.
Right. That's kind of the plan, yeah.
Right? Okay, so now we'll have 95,000 in the bank. There's this 210,000 in the investment account, to which you will add the proceeds of the home, right?
Yes.
And so we'll have $500,000 plus this nice little $95,000 cushion in her bank. So then what we need to do is come up with a game plan for how she's going to have this extra money distributed to her. Again, presuming the trust does not exist for a second.
Correct.
That we have her, the minimal amount of her Social Security. It's fine, whatever. Then what I think has to happen is I think that because of her tax bracket being so low, and it is low, I would start taking money out of those IRA accounts a little bit more aggressively, because she could essentially take $40,000 out of the retirement account, pay a 12% tax on that, and that amount plus her Social Security should pretty much get her through. She's not going to, it's not going to be living large, but that'll do it. That should probably do it pretty close. So I think $42,000 out of the IRA account. I might even just, that IRA that you said one has 47,000, one has 116. 47, is that hers or your uncle's?
That's my uncle's.
I would just pull that whole thing out this year. I'd pay taxes on it. I would use that for her to live on for the year.
Drain the IRAs first is kind of what you're saying. Don't touch the brokerage at all.
I wouldn't right now. Because she's going to be at such a low tax bracket. She's always going to be, she could potentially be at a 10% bracket, but she'll be at 12% is pretty amazing, right? So let's just pull the money out. Let's get that money out. Let's live on that for a year. By the end of the year, she will have all of her bills paid. She will have no credit card debt. She will not have a mortgage. And you guys will be able to determine what is really the cost of her living expenses now that she's sold the farm, right? That's the number we need. If you need financial help for you or anyone in your family, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here answering your financial questions. And sometimes those questions can be very big picture questions. Are you thinking about how to kind of change your whole life? And if that's the case, we'd love to help you out. And if that's also the case, you should check out my new book. It's called The Great Money Reset, because that is the book that is based on my conversations with all of you that helped me create a framework for people who are interested in changing their work and changing their wealth and changing their lives. So check it out, The Great Money Reset. Okay, now let's get back to Steve from Florida. But again, let's pretend if the trust never existed. The next step for 2024 would be, once again, and I'm not talking about investing yet, but again, using the IRA, pulling out the $40,000 for next year, maybe $42,000, stay in the 12% tax bracket, pay the tax that's due, use that to live on. You know, you basically will have about 2.5 years worth of money that's in those IRA accounts that will pay her bills. The money that is left, okay, where is the investment account currently held and how is it invested?
Yeah, that's the other piece I wanted to ask you about. Yes, it's held at Morgan Stanley, which is, and I'm not sure what they have been doing because it's a very aggressive portfolio.
Yeesh.
With a lot of individual stocks. And I almost to the point where it's like 75% stock versus bond. I'm inclined to get rid of that brokerage completely.
Yeah, totally. Do you manage your own money and can you take over for your aunt now? Do you feel okay doing that?
Yeah, I feel okay doing that. It's just a matter of being a little careful with. I guess the question I wanted to ask you is figuring out what that withdrawal strategy needs to be every year, I guess, is what I need to sort of.
So my strategy overall would be to keep this $100,000 in the bank always. And by the way, the money that's in the bank, once we pay off the credit card debt, again, the whole life policies proceeds come in, it goes into the bank. You keep 25 liquid, you put another 25 into a 6-month CD, another 25, and like, let's have some couple of CDs earning some interest, keep that 95 or 100 grand in the bank. The brokerage account needs to be established in a way so that not this year, not even next year, but it's the following year when we're going to need to start drawing that down. And that means, so we get through 23, we get through 24. And by the way, the IRA assets have to be invested very conservatively because we're going to use this money up, right?
Yes.
So then the investment account that will have $500,000 in it will then in 2 years have to be the source of pulling money out. And
Correct.
The money that you're going to pull out of there is probably going to be a little bit more like, I'm guessing probably $3,000 a month. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
That's what I'm, yeah.
And
that would be good.
Now, that's a lot of money because you're going to run out of money. I just want to be, if we don't have the trust, we're going to run out of money. So this is terrible to say this to you. So you may end up, you're married, yes?
Yes.
You and your spouse may end up having to help out your auntie. You just might have to. Yeah. Because in some way, shape, or form, I mean, again, it depends how long she lives and what happens with all these assets. I just feel like, when you pull $3,000 a month out of this account, it's going to run out. We're going to run out in some group of years. And if she lives till she's 100, you're going to help her. And probably once, so it just depends. And you'll make different choices. But I think for now, that should be your general game plan.
So on the brokerage account where the long-term money is, what kind of allocation should that look like, I guess?
Yeah. So I think that the allocation is probably going to be the money that you need in cash for the year, or that $36,000 has to be in cash, money market. And then of the rest, I think you kind of have to have a taxable bond fund for, like, let's say 60%, 25% in a U.S. stock index fund, and the rest in an international index fund. And that's it. So, I mean, the trust thing is a complete drag, dude. I am so sorry. I mean, it's just like, we'll find out. And maybe the news is better because, by the way, if that trust does go to her, and now instead of having $510,000 in a brokerage, we have 510 plus 500 grand in a trust, we might get lucky. she will not run out of money then. She'll probably be just fine. But I think that you got your head on straight. You're doing what you need to do. I think that it's a terrible situation when you don't know when you don't know like the details and you find them after death. It is jarring. I understand that. It really is. And so many people have been in your situation where it's like, oh, I didn't realize that. So while it's uncomfortable to do this during your family, like while someone's living, it is so much better to find this out. So, for you, Steve, it doesn't help you. For everyone else listening, this is a good story, a good reminder that sharing information intergenerationally is incredibly important. And if you have a relative who's like, no, I don't want to tell you, you're being too nosy, you say, well, I'm going to be responsible for you. I'm the one who is going to have to take care of you. So you can't dump this on me.
Jill, one last question for you.
Sure.
She also has a whole life policy for 100K.
Is there cash value in it?
There is cash value in it. I'm
How
trying
much?
to figure out what it is. I haven't figured that out as yet, but I'm going to hopefully get a number out of that. So what should I do with that, I guess, is my question.
Okay. So I would get rid of it because she doesn't need that money to you guys don't need, you're obviously would be the beneficiaries at this point. So there's two ways to think about it. One, let's just keep it because if whatever money we have to pay for her to help her out, she, we'll have some extra insurance money. I think that you should find out if there's any cash value and just get the cash value out and use it to help her put it in the cash account, in her own, bank account and just have it available. It's the Jill on Money Show. If you've got a financial question, get in touch with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. And the way that we do that is we encourage you to go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button. There you write out whatever your question is. And if you'd like to come on the air with us, great. And if not, we'll read your email. It just usually takes a little bit longer to get the email. Right now, let's answer one of those emails. This is from Stephen, who writes, "Hi, Jill. I hear you on CBS radio every day, and I'm a big fan." Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Stephen's question is, we bought our house in 1999. We took out a $200,000 mortgage, and I've refinanced twice, but we restarted the 30-year clock every time. This is fascinating. They went from paying $1,300 a month down to $730 per month. Okay. If I had kept my original mortgage, I would have the house paid off in 2029. Since I've refinanced twice, the mortgage doesn't come due till 2043. The principal is only down to $125. My question is, if I have the funds to pay off the mortgage early, should I do so? I don't plan on moving for at least another 10 years, if at all. Kids are almost done with college. Daughter has another year of grad school. Son has one more year of college. I will be 55 in April. I am well invested in 401ks and also outside of my 401k. I've got cash of $250,000. I feel like if I do pay off that mortgage early, I might wait until after the kids are done with school. Thanks for your help. Okay, so his principal's $125. I don't know what the rest of the mortgage is, the home mortgage. I'm saying a hard no right on this now because I don't know what your rate is, but I bet it's low. And if your excess cash is worth something for your peace of mind and just keeping it there, that's good. I would prefer you wait to see whether or not you're really going to sell the house. I don't know. Let's say we're at 2043. So we got 20 years left on this. Why not just keep it, paying it for, say, the next 5 or 10 years? Maybe you have a different idea about this and maybe you really do want to stay there. And even if that's the case, why not keep a low cost mortgage, right? That's at a reasonable rate and have that other money, that extra cash on the side. Maybe you invest some of that. Right now, I bet that your total investments over the next 10, 20 years are going to do better than the interest rate associated with your mortgage. Now, if this freaks you out, the other thing to do is to say, well, let me really look at a financial plan. I'm 55 years old. What happens at 65? I think you're going to have this house for another 10 years at least. I wouldn't do anything with it until then. And if you determine that you really are going to sell it, then absolutely do not pay off the mortgage. But if you really decide you want to stay, maybe at that point when you're, another 10 years from now, you can accelerate it. Okay? That is, to me, your game plan. I hope that helps. Gail writes, this is an interesting subject, a subject about which I know little. So let me just start right there. Here's the subject. Getting Medicare costs down by using Social Security Administration's Form 44. So Gail writes, love your podcast. I listen every day. Here's something I think would benefit a lot of your listeners. Okay, let's do it. My husband and I sold our business in January of 21 for $1 million, and our income for the prior year was about $280,000. Due to the 2-year look-back period that Medicare does, we would have had to pay a lot for 2022 and the maximum amount for 2023. Okay, this is fascinating. My cousin, everyone, let's hat tip to Gail's cousin. My cousin told me to file Form SSA-44, where we stated that we retired in 21 and thus they didn't charge us IRMAA. I knew this was getting back to IRMAA, income-related monthly adjustment amount. That's IRMAA. I'm going to explain it in a second. And it saved us thousands of dollars for those 2 years. Neither my CPA nor our financial advisor told us about Form SSA-44. It's easy to fill out. Nobody seems to know about it. Lots of your listeners are high earners and they're subject to IRMAA. Let them know about this. You just have to state that you retired and they won't charge you IRMAA. Okay, Mark, should we do a little quick IRMAA thing? It's basically if you make more money than the government thinks is like sort of reasonable for paying for your surcharge on Medicare, they say you got to contribute. Okay. So if you earn over $300,000, there are extra charges that you will have to pay for both Medicare Part B and D. And it can amount to, Gail's right, $300 a month, $400. The top amount you would pay would be $472 a month. Now, the thing about this is I don't know if this worked because would it work for everyone? I don't know anything about this. This is a slot question. What do you think, Mark?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's strange that neither the CPA nor the financial advisor knew anything about it. I'm just looking at the form now, and it says if you had a major life-changing event and your income has gone down, you may use this form to request a reduction in your income-related monthly adjustment amount.
Okay, so what's interesting about that is like, okay, we sold our business and now we're, we no longer have $280,000 a year in income, and therefore, as a result, I'm intrigued by how much other money they have because there is, while it might be completely legitimate, it does feel a tiny bit weird in that, like they sold their business for $1 million. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe that's all the money they have. You're listening to Jill on Money. When we return, we will answer more of your financial questions. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. That's how we get this flood of questions, and it's really great. Keep those questions coming. Jill on Money. We will be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we end this hour, let's take an email question. This one is from Patricia, who writes, what is your opinion about a life insurance policy where it is paid up front and you can draw money out of it if nursing home care is needed? Here's the example that Patricia gives us. You put in $100,000 to begin with, and then this money could collect interest, and you would be able to use both the money you deposited and the accumulation to pay for long-term care needs if necessary. But if you never needed long-term care insurance, then there would be a death benefit, and that would flow to your beneficiaries. So these are becoming much more popular. These are hybrid products that insurance companies are creating to try to address the needs of long-term care. So here are a few questions to ask yourself, Patricia, and I'd love to know more about you. The first is, do I need life insurance itself? And, for a lot of people as they get older, they don't really need the life insurance. Then the second question is, do I need long-term care insurance? And as we've talked about on this program, the number of people who need long-term care insurance is actually smaller than you would imagine. There's a whole group of people who have a lot of money, let's say more than $1.5 or $2 million. Those people would likely self-insure. They would pay for any long-term care needs as they would arise, and they would not have a problem depleting all of their funds. They'd be able to pay for it as they go. Then on the other end of the spectrum, there are people who don't have a ton of assets, maybe less than a few $100,000. And those people would maybe plow through some of their money, but then qualify for Medicaid. And then, the people in the middle are at risk. But if you're a single person, maybe you're not really at risk because you just spend some of your money. So I think we'd need to know more about you, Patricia, to determine whether or not this kind of product would be right for you. My guess is no. I don't know. I got a feeling, but follow up with us. Okay, it is the Jill on Money Show. We've got a whole nother hour of fun ahead of us. If you've got a financial question, just go to the website, jillonmoney.com. We'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's hour number 2 of the Jill on Money Show, and we are answering your financial questions. The first one is from Marie, who's on the line from Maryland. What's going on? How can we help you?
I'm so excited to talk to you both because I got a huge raise and I'm just trying to think through what to do with all this extra money I have unexpected.
Marie, I love a big raise. Do tell us. Well, so first of all, how old are you?
I'm 44.
And are you partnered, single, kids? What's going on?
Partnered, but complicated. My partner lives in another country and we're trying to get him here on a visa. So we'll eventually be together in a couple of years, but immigration's a long process. So.
Oh, that's so hard. And do you have kids?
I do not.
Okay. Tell us about what's going on. What was the raise?
I went from 67,000 and I am now at 100,000. So almost 50% raise.
That's huge. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Game changer.
I mean, really, it is, right? So what had you been doing with the 67,000? Had you been putting money into a retirement account?
I have, yeah. Early in my career when I was making much less, I couldn't put as much, but I've been trying to increase that over the years. So I've got about 83,000 in a 457B right now. Okay. And I'm contributing about $275 biweekly and get a $2,500 contribution for my workplace a year.
Do you have a pension?
I do.
I knew it because as soon as I hear 457, I perk up and start leaning forward, hoping about this. So there's 83 grand in the 457 plan. What's the pension look like?
It's a little bit unbelievable to me. And I was told for a long time it wasn't that good, so I didn't pay that much attention to it. But now that I'm running the numbers, it's looking like if I retire at 62, I'll get $4,266.
Holy moly.
At 65, it's $4,666. So pretty good, I'm realizing. I'm having to kind of absorb that and realize I'm okay, but I need you to help me tell me I'm okay.
It's amazing. Wow. What's also amazing about that is because you've been living on $67,000, I imagine that's probably what kind of close to what you need, right?
Yeah. That's the recalculated number I made based on the new salary. But yeah.
Okay.
I'm spending
great.
about $2,700 a month at the moment.
$2,700? That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Do you own a home?
I do.
What's it worth?
I don't know, $230, $250. My mortgage was or I paid $150.
Okay. And what's the outstanding mortgage balance?
I've got $77,000 left and about 6 or 7 years.
You like this house? You're going to stick around?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. There's almost like nothing I need to tell you except to say you're in such great shape because you don't spend that much money. Let's say it's $3,000 a month. Let's just pretend that that's the number.
That's what I'm upping it to now that I got a raise. So that's perfect.
$3,000 a month, but you're going to have, at worst case, $4,200 a month at age 62 in the pension. Even with taxes, it's like you're golden, girl.
I mean, I think my fear, and now that I've had this huge increase, I'm not planning on leaving. But if something happens and I just don't get this full pension that I'm expecting, will I be okay? I think that's my deep fear. If my job is eliminated, if something happened, what do I do?
Well, we're going to keep saving. So let's talk a little bit more. So there's $83,000 in the 457. How much money do you have in just like boring checking, savings, money market, safe money?
That's where I'm really struggling, and I know I need to get better. I have about $6,500 in a emergency fund, and that's all for that. And then I have about $5,000 in a Roth that I'm contributing to, and about $1,500 in a brokerage account.
Where is that account?
Fidelity.
Okay, and the Roth is also at Fidelity?
It is, yeah.
So if you were to look at it right now, and there's no other debt besides that mortgage, right?
That's right.
Okay. So what happens if... this is terrible. Like, what happens if you were to die, like before the pension amount? Would you have to be married to this partner for someone to get that pension benefit?
I mean, I have a beneficiary that I set up years ago that was my nephew, so pre this partnership. So I guess there is a beneficiary, but I don't know how that technically works.
Okay, that's something to check into. So here's the story. We do need to beef up those emergency reserves. How much extra money do you think you have with the new salary on a monthly basis, approximately?
I decided about $1,600. I don't truly have allocated anywhere. That's not automatically being done. So I can play with that amount. That's
keeping your retirement contributions as is or increasing them?
That's as is.
So, Mark, what do you want to do? You wanted to jam up the 457 contribution?
No, not really. Well, if this pension is what she thinks it's going to be, I mean, we got to find that out. But if it is, I would probably get the brokerage account going after the emergency reserve.
Right. All right. So let's just say I'm going to use round numbers. 1,500, not 1,600. So 1,500 goes into your emergency reserve fund until you have. Are you worried? I mean, do you have a job that is at risk? Or, I mean, you work for a government or a government entity or municipality? Where do you work?
It's a quasi-government agency, so private and public. And we get benefits and health insurance from them, but otherwise it's private.
You need 20 grand in a safe emergency reserve fund. Okay. That's what you need. You have 6,500. I would keep doing what I'm doing in your 457. I would do $1,600 a month into your emergency reserve until you get your 20 grand. Now you have another $1,600 a month. I would put the money, I would split it between the Roth and the brokerage account, and I would build those up. Now, you are making a lot more money, but you still make below the threshold to be able to use a Roth IRA. So, it's kind of cool because if you're single, you make less than, say, I think it's $138,000. You can keep using it. I would use it. Split the money, the 1,600. Yeah, half can go into the Roth, half can go in the brokerage, and build from there. That's what I would do. Are you also entitled to Social Security?
I am, yes.
I think that's all you need to do. I really do. But ideally, you would like to work until that 62, right?
Yeah, I don't think past 62. I bet 62 is a good target for me. Yeah.
Then target that. I feel good about that. What other questions do you have?
I think that did it. I had that inclination to start paying off the mortgage, but I know that's a no-no after listening to you. So I've been trying to hold back. No. It's also interesting. I mean, I don't know what the mortgage rate is, but it doesn't even matter. 6 or 7 years is left. You need liquidity. Right? That's what you're saying to me. Like, what if? You just asked me the what if question, which is always a great question to ask. The answer to the what if is
if something bad happens, you need liquidity. You don't need a paid off house. You need access to cash.
This is why I keep getting into debt, is because I have house emergencies and other things and I don't have the cash. So I know that's what I need to stay in a good place.
Congratulations. It's great. It is great that you got this increase. You're going to take advantage of it because, honestly, it would be a shame if you couldn't, but you should live a little. You should have some fun. There's nothing wrong with spending some money.
I just needed someone else to tell me. A couple of people have told me. I just needed to hear it from one more.
We wish you all the best, Ms. Marie from Maryland, and we congratulate you on your amazing, amazing accomplishment. At the very least, you should have the great knowledge in that, like, okay, I'm not going to squander this. I'm going to make something of this. I'm going to give myself some more opportunity. That's what we're hoping you can do by doing that. We're here taking the mystery out of your financial life. If you've got a question, just go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. If you'd like to join us live, all you need to do is check that little box, and Mark does everything else. And the program is great when you come on live. Okay, the Jill on Money Show will be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are trying to help you make better financial decisions on this program. And we do so hopefully without judgment, because I know people have a really weird relationship with money. I understand. It's quite emotional. And I'm hopeful that we can solve whatever is on your mind financially, whatever dilemma is presented, or maybe just give you some peace of mind, which would help you feel more comfortable as you move forward in your financial life. Just give us a holler. Go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. Right now, let's do an email. This is from Mark. Hi, Jill and Mark. I'm learning so much listening to the pod. Sometimes the things I learn lead to more questions than I had before. What are the types of fee-only financial advisors? Okay. He lists 3 things: fixed fee for an analysis and a plan, a fee per hour analysis, a plan and ongoing advice, a percentage of assets under management. And does the last apply to financial advisors, different from planners, different from managers? Now you're into the whole alphabet soup and confusing aspect of hiring folks. Fee only used to, and I don't know if it still does, but it used to really apply to people who did not collect commissions at all. And so it's easy. Fixed fee for an analysis and a plan, that's easy to understand. A fixed fee per hour for an analysis and a plan and ongoing advice, that's also easy. And it can be applied to people who call themselves advisors, financial planners. I don't know, financial manager seems like a brokerage house name that's made up. The percentage of assets under management is usually, it's not usually called fee only. I think fee only was sort of that NAPFA determination about we don't collect commissions. So I think Mark finishes the question with, an annual fee of 1.5% of assets under management means that my assets will grow by 1.5% more slowly than the market on average. Am I right? Yes and no. I used to say that when you have an asset under management or AUM model, you start at a 1.5% in the whole position. Like you're down 1.5% on January 1st. That said, a lot of people do charge a percentage of assets under management as a way to actually provide you with ongoing financial planning advice. So if you're saying to me, I have somebody who is charging me 1.5% of assets under management and just to manage my assets, I think that's a lousy deal. But if you have someone charging you 1.5% of assets under management, and let's say you have $700,000, and that is a certified financial planner who's helping you understand scenario planning, is helping you do financial planning, is helping you with tax planning, it could be worth it. But for asset management only, not so much anymore. All right. Last, actually, Ken says, hello, Jill and Mark. I love your podcast and I enjoy the topics in your weekly email. How about that, Mark? Little shout out for you. Okay. Ken goes on and says, like many, I've had some volatility in the last year and I thought I'd reach out for input. I used to enjoy an annual point-in-time review from Vanguard. They stopped that. Otherwise, I've been self-directed over the years. We've spent years living below our means. We've tracked our daily, monthly, and annual spending for 35 plus years. Wow, that's amazing. In April 2017, my wife, who was then 58, and I, 61 at that time, retired with the blessings of a point-in-time review from Vanguard showing a 99% chance of success to my 103rd birthday based on my numbers. I had and have a traditional IRA with $1.35 million in stock, 46%, 46% bond, and these are both index funds, and a little international index fund as well. And there's some money in money market for withdrawing. We've been taking $93,000 annually since then, which includes paying for discretionary home improvements and early retirement vacations. Go years. COVID support towards healthcare insurance and limitations on our travel plans helped us slow those extra costs in a couple of years. We had $1.35 million at the beginning of 22, and today it's $1.1 million. That's not even bad. $1.1 million after withdrawals and market declines. Annual budget for day-to-day living includes taxes, and that is $71,000 plus $22,000 for discretionary stuff. They pulled on discretionary, so now their total spend is $80,500. The plan is to take Social Security in March 26, when I'm 60 and my wife hits her full retirement age as 67. As of this month's report, that will be $49,700 for me, 18 plus for my wife, annualized total of $68,300. I'm thinking that should have us on a more sustainable withdrawal amount of $30,000 from the IRA, which should also be about what we need to cover our required minimum distributions. We're in good health. Okay. Ready for the questions, Mark? They have a complete estate plan, by the way. They own their home free and clear, no debt. I may be overthinking this, but currently, let's just call it 50-50. Should he keep taking the living expenses from the money market and wait for the market to improve, or should I rebalance my allocation now to add to the money market account as I've been doing to maintain every year? Today, we're at an 8.6% withdrawal rate starting in 26. Assuming the balance starts at 8, we'd be at a 3.8. Would you judge that my numbers are sustainable? This is unsustainable. I don't know what the planning was when they said you have money that will last you, but you didn't have enough money to start the corpus. The big chunk of money was not enough to allow you to pull out $90-some thousand a year. Just never was. I don't know how to. 1.35 is. I'd love to see that analysis. I really would.
To take out that much money, they would need about $3 million.
Yeah, you need triple, 2.5 times what you had. All right, so here's what I think you should do. Stop spending so much money. That's number one. Number two, are they going to make it? I don't know if you should even wait till 70. If you're at full retirement age, I would start taking it now because this nest egg is going to get depleted fast. So if you could get to what we want people to do is get your heads on straight, gang. We never want you to be at a more than a 3.5% withdrawal rate in any given year. And by the way, I run my own retirement numbers at 2.5% withdrawal rate. So that's what I do for myself. You know why I do that? What's the worst case scenario? Oh, you know what? I take one less trip a year and big deal. And I end up with too much money. God bless. My nieces and nephews will have a great life. But truly, you can't put this kind of pressure on yourselves. Gang, it is so important when you start the process of thinking about retirement and calling it quits. 58 is too young usually. Just consider this. Take 3% of your invested assets, 3%, And give me that number. You got $1 million, that's 30 grand. Oh, and by the way, if that 3% is coming out of a retirement account, it is not 30 grand. It is 30 grand less taxes. So figure out what it is that you can live on. It hurts me right now. I feel terrible because I feel like this guy's like, well, Vanguard gave me this thing. I really would love to see that Vanguard analysis. Not that it matters. Who cares? You don't want to go back in time. But for right now, I think you start claiming Social Security, full retirement age. Don't mess around. How about a little part-time work? Stop spending so much money.
I mean, once Social Security kicks in, I think they'll be okay because, they're going to get probably 55, 60,000. And then, they can take 3% out of the 1 million portfolio. I think they'll be okay. But thank goodness he emailed us.
This is what we call an unforced error, gang. We do not want you to make these kinds of mistakes. So if you're contemplating any big change like this, we want to hear from you. Please, please, please go to JillOnMoney.com, click the contact us button. Do you want to know why I say to people, I go like, oh, when you're going to retire in your 50s, here is the clearest indication of why I get nervous. If you have a financial question, just send it to us, JillOnMoney.com. We'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show. We're answering some email questions. This one is from Lucinda, who has in her subject, good savings, but how do we spend it? You ready for this? I'm ready. Lucinda's 52, her husband's 62. They're both in tip-top health. We're fortunate enough to have saved a good amount of money, but given our age difference, I'm not sure how to address two things. One, how do we calculate a safe amount that we can spend each month once we both retire, which will likely be in a year and a half? Okay, they currently spend, outside the mortgage, $100,000 a year. She says, I'm confident we're good for that, but if we want to travel extensively, could we afford 150? How about 200? That's question one. Question two, after we retire, which bucket should we draw down from first to minimize taxes? I assume brokerage first, then pre-tax, and then post-tax, but the age difference thing makes it a bit more complex. Okay, here are the numbers. There's an IRA 401k, $1.1 million in pre-tax. Rollover IRA 401k Roth, $600,000. Brokerage, $2.7 million with about $800,000 of unrealized capital gains. Husband will have a pension of $4,000 a month when he turns 65. Then his Social Security at age 70, $4,000 a month. Her Social Security at 70, $3,000 a month. So just remember, we're thinking about $100,000, right? They've got twin boys. They're juniors in high school. They've saved $250,000 in a 529 plan. And they're going to probably both stop working when they go to college. Modest home. They have a modest home that's worth $2 million. That's so funny because they're in a high cost of living area. They've got a loan balance of $90,000. We're not decided whether we're going to downsize once the kids leave. It's a consideration. Okay. So here's our question. Number one, which buckets first? Okay. This is interesting. I'm sort of leaning towards, when you say 18 months, let's say that your husband retires and it's 65, because we have to think about this. If he has a pension, does he also have health care? And also that we have to buy health care for you from your age for 10 years until you get to be Medicare age. Everybody, when they think about Medicare, it doesn't extend to your spouse. It's just you. It's whoever reaches 65. what do we think about pulling some of the money out of their pre-tax money before age 70? Just pulling it out and living on some of that. Not even converting it to a Roth, but living on it. Paying the tax that's due, because the taxable income will drop down pretty significantly, right? I don't know how much they make together, but let's say they make a couple $100,000 together and they, $100,000. That means that they're basically in the 22% tax bracket. Could we pull out enough money from the retirement account from his age 65 to 70, right? Pull that money out, live on that. Now, of course, when he turns 70, that's when they're going to have he'll have $8,000 in month total. So 4 from the pension, 4 from Social Security, but that still, leaves them some time where I think what they should be doing is, normally you're right. I would say brokerage, pre-tax, Roth. But in this case, I'm sort of thinking pull the money out of the pre-tax retirement that will keep you in the 22% tax bracket. Okay. Pull out that amount of money every year, live on that. That's no problem. You guys are going to have money and you can do whatever you want. You can spend $150,000 a year, I'm pretty sure. But let's just say for now, take that money out first. For married filing jointly, it's about 90 to 190 is the number. So you can take up to $190,000 of income. And all you need to figure in this process is the amount of income you're receiving, which will be, again, $4,000 a month, his $50,000 or so at his age 65 for 5 years. You have, I'm pretty sure you're saying that's all the income you're having because you're going to both be retired. So then you can essentially pull out another, let's call it about 150-ish. Don't go crazy. Let's call it 130-ish. Pull 130 out of your retirement, your pre-tax accounts, pay the tax on it. Okay. And it should come out of his accounts first. And then you do that for the years before he turns age 70 and starts his Social Security. And then you reduce the amount, and whatever difference you have to make up the money that you're going to spend, take it from your brokerage account. But I think that that's the game plan. And then you should reduce the amount you take out from those pre-tax accounts, but you should still try to take some out. And, even if it's instead of $130 a year, maybe it's $60,000 a year, but do it. Take the money out, pay the taxes, move on. Now, Mark, do you think they can do $150,000? Not 200. I don't think it's 200 because look at their total net worth, which is 3,738,402, but a bunch of that is taxable. So let's say they have about 3.7. Let's say they have $3.7 million. And they will have money coming out at age 70, they're pretty set. But do you think they can spend on $3.7 million? What is the maximum amount you'd like to draw on that?
I would probably keep it around, 110, 120,000. But then they're also going to have the pension income, so they're going to be fine. They can spend $150,000 a year.
I think so too. So I think if you want, I would make it $100,000 that you count on from this because we're going to pull money out of this account, but $100,000 will come out of your portfolio. You'll have pension. So could you do $150,000? Absolutely. Could you do 200 in a particular year? I wouldn't plan on it though. And anyway, your mortgage is going to be done pretty quickly. And if you do downsize, you're in like the sweetest shape ever. So amazing job. Do it and move on. We'll get back to more of your questions in just a minute. It's the Jill on Money Show. Send us your financial questions at jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Whatever it is, just unload it. Type your question down. Maybe come join us on the air, and we will help you out. In other words, don't suffer alone. Let us help you. Come on. All right. It's Jill on Money, and we will be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
you're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that tries to take the mystery out of your financial life. We do that by answering your questions, which you send to us through our website, jillonmoney.com. Contact us button. So now let's do another email. This email is from Gina. Gina says, I wish I could come on the show, but I've gotten so many friends and coworkers listening. I feel like someone is bound to recognize my situation. Okay, so soon to turn 61. My husband is 65 and recently retired. Of course, he wants to retire. Now he wants her to retire. She says he wants me to retire and feels that our financial situation would be secure even with my having to pay for health insurance out of pocket. Here is the rundown. You ready, Mark? The home's paid off. It's worth $750,000. She makes $180,000. They have Roth assets. She's got $71,000. He's got $64,000. Wow. They've got oh my God. I'm just going to give you the answer. Yes, you can do it. He's right. I'm just looking at the numbers. Do I have to go through all the numbers? Here's the deal. They live in a high cost of living area. They want pre-tax income of $140,000. But the thing that's amazing is they have saved a ton of money. Can we just eyeball this? She makes $180,000. They have almost $2.5 million in retirement accounts. Yeah, about 2.5. Most of it is traditional. Taxable account is $55,000, $140,000 in cash, $20,000 in I-bonds. Social Security is going to be pretty nice. It's going to be about $7,000 a month when she gets to her full retirement. Remember, she's 61. Okay, but here's the issue. This is fascinating. I've been a nurse for 38 years, and while I like my job, the wear and tear is starting to get to me. My husband is adamant that we're set. I'm not so sure. We are fortunate in that longevity is good in both families. Oh, and yes, we have estate planning, and they both have long-term care insurance. So, Mark, what do you think? Can they do it? They got to spend a bunch of money down. And I presume what they would do is, see, in my mind, the home's paid off. They still want pre-tax income of $140,000. They're going to have to pull money out of his retirement account. I think that's what I would do if she were really going to stop. Because remember, they have to fill the gap until Social Security for her. And they'd have to pull money slowly but surely out of the pre-tax accounts, pay the tax that's due. It's probably smart to do that anyway. Then get to the end of, then they're in Social Security, they can reduce the amount. Do you think that they have enough money to do it, Mark?
They probably do. I don't know if she's going to be comfortable for the next few years spending all that money.
It's a real spend down. Like, it's for real. So, that would really mean, if we just consider this right now, that like if you have $2.3 million in your right now in your retirement accounts, in your pre-tax accounts, it essentially means you're going to have to pull out $500,000-$600,000 out of those accounts. That's a lot. You have to pay tax on it. Here's what I would say. How about if you split the difference? I mean, many nurses can do part-time work. Could you do that? Could you actually do some part-time work for a few more years? I feel like you want to build up a little bit extra cash. If I were you, I'd keep working for maybe a year or 2 years. If this doesn't feel comfortable, I would stop putting money into my retirement accounts and I would really start socking away cash.
I would go until about 63 and a half. So about 2.5 more years. And then that way for a year and a half, she can do COBRA, which will probably be cheaper.
Right. That's a good idea. You're in better shape than you think, and you're not in as good a shape as he thinks. So to split that out, working for every year you work is a better year, right? Because you have saved money. So if you continue to work, at least you do what Mark says, 63 and a half, and you sock away the money that was going into retirement, put it in cash, make sure you build up your cash reserve because you have to take that money out to pay for, number one, more healthcare, because COBRA is going to be pretty penny for you, and also for your expenses. I don't understand, you do live in a high cost area, but $140,000 without any mortgage. I don't know. That's a lot. So I have a feeling that this is kind of what you want to do. And if he wants to fight us about the numbers, okay. We'll get back to the program in just a moment. Now, during the break, I've got an idea of a few things that you can do. Number one, go to the website, jillonmoney.com. And the first thing you want to do is you want to bookmark it because you're going to be coming back. You know you are. And that way, whenever a financial issue comes up, you can just click the Contact Us button, Let us know if you want to come on the air, and Mark does everything else. Now, what else can you do? You can really check out all of the content that lives on the website. So we've got 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money. And for those of you who are not in the world of podcasts, come on. It's just like radio on demand. Jill on Money podcast, which is a daily podcast. And then we've got the Money Watch podcast, which is twice a week. And it's fun. We like those podcasts. You also can check out the blog. I usually put something new up there, maybe once or twice a week. I put something up there. We've got a resources section. You can even go and look at old videos. Who knows what you'll find. Anyway, of course, the other 2 things on the website that are of interest, we've got the free weekly newsletter, comes out every single Friday, and a link to buy the book, The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. All that for you in one tidy, beautiful website, jillonmoney.com. So go bookmark it right now, and we'll go pay some bills, and we'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are not done just yet because we've got another email. This is from Erica, who writes, "My father passed away in 2019. We filed a tax return, and I sent the IRS a death certificate 3 different times, by the way. And according to Erica, the status is nothing. And they have not been paid. I guess they are due a refund of $3,000. And Erica is citing my article about tax filing season being open, where I say don't call because you're just not going to get through. And as she says, she's called, nothing has helped. They hang up on her. Can I help? Oof, I don't know. Persistence. I guess that's about all we can do, because at this point, there's not much more that you could do. Keep banging away and try to send emails and monitor it. I mean, there are some cases where they are still catching up for years back. I wonder if you filed a paper return. That may have been the problem, because those paper returns really did get flagged and it was not pretty. And so they're still digging out, I guess. But I'm so sorry, Erica. What an awful situation. So keep at it, gang. Remember, please try not to use paper returns. File electronically. That is the safest way to do so, and you will get your refunds fastest by doing an electronic return. Well, that's it. That is the end of the program. And if you would like to join us, all you need to do is get on our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and at the end of the form, it'll say, would you like to join us live? And if you would like to join us live, then we'll bring you on. It's really easy to do. So we encourage you to do that. And we also encourage you to check out all the great content that lives on our website at jillonmoney.com. There are 2 podcasts. There's a blog. There are videos. There are resources. And you can buy the book, The Great Money Reset. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer. Karen Kranick is our web queen. Thanks for tuning in. Put your hands metaphorically on someone's back, and we'll talk to you next week.